say before you watch this video, I give all the credit to my daughter Imani, who came down here when I was sick and took over this household and helped me get better. And to help me to realize that I have a strength in me that I had forgotten about. She's the one that encouraged me to share my story in hopes that I can help other women out there. So kudos to my daughter. Thank you, baby. I love you. Thank you for supporting me.
Now say sorry. I will not apologize.
This is Carla Alexander here with It's Never Too Late. It's been a minute. It's been a couple of months. I'm going to share with you my experience that I've been going through over the last few months. Not because I want to, but because I feel like as a woman, it's my duty to share the experience so that other women can be made more aware of what's to come. I broke my foot in August, and I wasn't sure if it was the stress or if I was just going through early menopause, but I started having what I call sweats. And it lasted for about 4 weeks. I missed the period, and then it went away. So I went through something really traumatic a few months ago with someone very close to me, and it broke my heart. I was stressed. I was heartbroken, and no matter how much I tried to ignore the feeling of a heartbreak, I couldn't. And the sweats started again. So I probably do what all females do, come to terms with the reality that, at a certain age, you start going through a change of life, and there's really nothing you can do about it. No matter how young at heart you feel, your body is telling you that, times are changing. So I went with the flow, thinking that, it's just life. It was annoying because, you're fine one minute, then you're sweating, and it's like, oh, great, here we go, sweating again. But then it didn't stop. It got worse, actually. It didn't stop, and it got worse. I went from an occasional sweat to it's every 15 minutes, maybe, if I'm lucky, every hour. But I don't go more than an hour without a full-blown sweat attack. And that's what I call it, because I've been to the doctor for it, and they don't know what it is exactly. How did I end up going to the doctor? I'm so glad you asked. A few weeks ago, because I had been enduring this sweating so bad for almost a month, maybe 6 weeks, I actually went into severe dehydration. And I almost had a heart attack. So I went to the hospital. They hydrated me. They thought that my condition was pretty bizarre. I think that's what the doctor called it. So they were even kind of perplexed. They ran a bunch of tests. All my tests came back normal. We thought it might be a thyroid issue. It's not a thyroid issue. I'm getting ready to go into what I call a sweat attack, or the vapors, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to show you how it comes on and what I have to do. So as I'm sitting here, perfectly normal, I can feel the temperature in my body rising, and I can feel the AC cooling me down at the same time. But it's not going to stop here. Now, when I go through this, it lasts. I haven't really pinpointed it. I don't know how many minutes it lasts, but this is what I go through. And I can go through this walking down the street. I go through this in the grocery store. I go through this everywhere. I can go through this in the shower because I can feel it. Because before I started really paying attention to my body and taking care of the things I felt that I needed to take care of, this thing literally wiped me out. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't even get out of the bed. It was causing severe muscle cramps, like my entire body would cramp up. And then I had vomiting, bad vomiting. That's how I ended up going to the hospital. Even up until last week, I could not get out of the bed because I would go through this, then I'd have to take my towels and cool off, and then I'm freezing cold. And then what that does is it messes with your head, because couldn't, during this particular like phase right now, I couldn't even talk. I was panting, you know, I was frustrated, I was crying, because this was literally my life and it was taking over. You know, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a healthy 46-year-old woman, and they can't find anything wrong with me outside of maybe it might be a severe reaction to early menopause, if it's not a tumor on my adrenals. So they don't know what this is, but this is my life. This is what my life has consisted of for the last 2 months. And I've been very, very depressed, of course. I mean, duh, I'm sweating so bad. I've lost like 20 pounds. I'm 152 pounds now. And no matter what I eat, I sweat it out. So, you know, the doctor's advice for me was to eat more salt-based foods. Great for a personal trainer, but that's not what you want to hear. So could you imagine being out in the street, you know, and you're in the supermarket, you're trying to buy groceries, and all of a sudden this is what happens, and people look at you like you're a complete freak, which I'm not, by the way. So this is what I have to go through every 45 minutes, 15 minutes, depends. My body literally, it depends. Yeah. I'm gonna have to change a shirt because I'm very cold. I'll be right back. Ooh. That's just a little bit of, you know, what the sweating is like. My house is cool, so the sweating wasn't as bad. But if I was in a normal temperature space, I would be saturated. My clothes would be soaking wet. When I got back from the hospital, it was very hard for me to breathe. It was hard for me to move. You know, they were concerned that my kidneys might be, you know, failing because of how dehydrated I was when I was in the hospital. They couldn't even find veins in my arms because I was that dehydrated from sweating so much and sweating so bad. So they gave me potassium, and that helped a lot. I got home and I was very, very weak. You know, every step I took, I was just fatigued. I had no energy whatsoever, you know, and it was debilitating. It was very debilitating. It was hard. A week later, called a doctor to find out the results from the hospital. And they didn't have any answers for me because they don't know what it is. They want to rule out a tumor in my adrenal glands, you know, but if it's a tumor, great, we can just get that bad boy out there and you'll never sweat again. Or if my adrenal glands are just producing too much hormones, I'm gonna have to be on medication to regulate it because you can't live life without adrenal glands. Or if that's not the case, then I'm having a really, really bad reaction to menopause. Yeah, I'd like there to be a fourth on the table, but there isn't one, so you don't even really know what's wrong with me. Okay. When I got off the phone with them, I was just as frustrated. You know, I didn't have any answers. I was miserable. I was crying because my body hurt. I had no energy. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even, you know, walk my dogs without feeling like I was gonna pass out. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And because nobody can give me any answers, what was I supposed to do? You know, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know, I need something, some relief, because every hour I am up. I have not had a good night's sleep in months. I cannot work right now because of this condition, and it's debilitating. And I found myself wanting medication. He said that I can give you something to help for the weekend until the next tests come. And I said, okay, that would be great. Prescription never made it to the pharmacy for whatever reason. I don't know. But I realized that right then and there, I had a decision to make, because for me to want medication, and I am not a believer of modern day medication at all, was a huge step in the wrong direction of where I want to be. So I decided that until they find out what my problem is, until what's going on, I wasn't going to give in into the fatigue anymore. When I was having my hot flashes, I would have to stop and I'd have to like sit and let it pass, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And I said I wasn't. So I started standing and just walking, small pacing back and forth until it passed. I changed my mindset. I decided that I wasn't going to allow this to control me anymore, that I was going to take control of my life, that there is nothing that I can do to change it. If it is a part of life, then I have to go with the flow. But I can't sit and hide. I can't stop doing what I love to do, which is making my videos and cooking and giving people advice on how to be happy. I can't stop all of that because life has thrown me another curveball. Life is going to do that. So for all of you women out here who are struggling and you're not sure what's wrong with you and you don't have any answers, or you might have answers and you're still struggling, you are not alone. Girl, I feel you. I got you on a high five right now. This is not fun, but it is a constant reminder that I have got to live my life to the fullest. And you do too. I'm also going to share with you a clip of what I went through before I went to the doctors and before I had my episode. You know, before I ended up in the hospital. I'm going to show you just how bad it got for me. And to see where I am now, it is amazing. God is so good.